Casione 402, or whatever it's called, the Casiotone 403, actually, that keyboard that I'm playing right now is it's made out of wood, or at least the outside is. It's like a wood grain thing. I'm sure it's actual wood because it's super heavy. And it doesn't look like those like wood veneer kind of cases. It's probably like the heaviest keyboard I have at the current moment. I don't really have any. Actually, that's a lie. I have a baby grand electric piano somewhere that's also really heavy. I found this in like a guitar center somewhere off like Highway 31. I just saw it there and I thought that looked interesting and really old. So it was like kind of old and busted looking. So I decided to take it with me that day. It was really cheap. It was a used piece of gear, obviously. I decided to repair it a little bit. Fixed some of the things. I greased up the pots on it so that way it doesn't scratch whenever I'm like changing a control. I think that of the two Casio keyboards I have, the other being the PMP 300, which is more of an 80s sounding keyboard. I like the way that this one has a lot of character to it with its sort of limited sound palette. It's really fun to just groove along with. And it's honestly a little bit more versatile than the newer one that I have. I've used it quite a bit. I used it for the job tips with cardboard. I especially made extensive use of the frog sound effect on it during the letter being sent to the Human Resources Department part of that film. It was really funny to goof around and mess with that sound effect. And I know a friend of mine who knows about the keyboard, when they saw the film, they were like, oh, you definitely used your Casio for that. It much like the silliest sound maker in my arsenal in that respect. I don't think I'll really have to go into any of the technical details about how the keyboard works. Yeah, I'm more interested in how I've used it. Another place where it's come of use actually was when I was shooting one film that is allegedly still being worked on somewhere, where I have a montage scene where I wrote the story, but in the montage scene, there's a part where the character is like imagining himself playing a keyboard in a black void. And I remember I came to the director with like both Casios and was like, which one do you think looks right for this situation? And I knew in my head that the sound design was probably going to be from the old Casio 403, though in the film, we went with shooting the new Casio PMP 300 since it's got a black veneer, it looks 80s, and the style that the actor was wearing would kind of fit more of a 80s style. I actually wrote an entire musical piece for that segment, which I'm not sure will be used in the final product. I know in my personal edit of the film, I actually wrote almost all of those pieces using some version of the Yamaha DX7, since that to me sounds even more 80s than the PMP 300. And it's almost like a more convincing PMP 300 than what it looks like on screen. I don't know, it kind of, even though it doesn't have that sort of black and sort of cyan, sort of, I don't know, teal color that the DX7 has, it kind of has that same look to it that the DX7 does, even though it sounds way cheaper and cornier. I actually use DX7 sounds a lot when I'm recording. But back to the 403. I actually use it a whole lot in soundtracks, more than you would think I would. I intend to, at some point, sample all of the sounds on there and make a digital instrument out of it. And that way I could control it with MIDI and be able to do some pretty funky things to it with effects and such. I actually have another piece where I will use the 403. In a film that has not been released yet called Phantom Power, the 403 is paired with some reverby rain sounds to create like an unnecessarily relaxing experience while the character on screen during that documentary is going through a little bit of a stressful time. So it's a fun juxtaposition to have the most peaceful music playing while. And another piece I can think of where the 403 is used is in the Walmart waltz that plays throughout the Easy Car Tutorial series. I think I used, the organ sound from it. And it's such a weird liminal Walmart music in a black void kind of sound that I think is really kind of fitting. All of my music that I listen to and make, and all of the art I create, I feel like has that sort of dreamlike quality that I'm sort of obsessed with. And I think that's the reason why I love the Casio 403, or the Casiotone 403. Should probably respect it enough to call it by its name written on the front. Okay, bye.